Hi, Neal Pike. Long time no see. Welcome to the shed.
Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah.
So, I've been having these chats with our Big White Shed authors and the wonderful Richard Heaven.
Yeah. Yeah. Who designed the behind you?
Yeah, exactly. So I've got two of your books here.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I've got Identity Bike Ride. I think you were about the third author that came on
Yeah,
board.
I think it was me. If I remember, me, Jim, and Chris in a very short space of time.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. And I'm not even sure to this day who was the first one. It all happened quite quickly because a lot of the conversation, it's conversations, and then finally you'll go, actually, I want to do a book.
Yeah, I think top of my head, I think. I pressure your face and you were like, no, but because we need a bigger platform for your voice.
Yeah, that was an interesting conversation, wasn't it? Yeah. Because we'll talk a bit about that when we go through. But I do remember thinking that mainstream poetry, not that there's many mainstream poetry publishers, but I do remember having a conversation where I felt that some of the more established poetry publishers would be interested in you because of your disability tick. Yeah. So what made you say no to that?
I think it's more the fact I think it's more the fact I needed to get my name bit out of their face, yeah, rather than actually just try straight away. Because I think if I tried for somewhere like, name escapes me, if I tried for one of them early doors, it'd be like straight refusal, I think. So I think you have to. And plus these days, most of the sighted publishers are small ones.
Yes, that's
true. Jake, Bad Betty, Press, and the Fielders all been, and Bear, obviously, yeah, they've also been quite them for the moment and probably the most exciting presses in England. They're probably the smallest.
I am quite excited when it's like Casey Bailey published with Big White Shed first and then went on to Verve and now has gone on. He's doing loads of work with the BBC and God knows where else. So yeah. It's exciting that people come here first, kind of get their bearings, I think, in the publishing world.
It will come at some point. I remember a few weeks ago listening to that interview with Roger, and he did say small presses are the best thing. Yeah,
Roger Robinson.
It would come at some point because always does in this conversation.
That was, can I just say, that was a Big White Shed Roger Robinson conversation that we did with Writing East Midlands that was funded by Apples and Snakes. It was a really intimate conversation.
I love him.
Yeah, I think he's had quite a huge influence on your writing.
Yeah.
Perhaps not the way you write, but certainly your sort of ethos, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Also, I like how he builds people up from the ground as well,
Definitely. I think he has a very warm heart, and I liked what he said about the fact that it's important to read the small presses. It's important to read people's pamphlets because that's where the changes are being made in poetry.
Yeah.
So, Identity Bike Ride, fantastic title. I think it was one of the poems, isn't it?
Yeah, you can get your idea to start with it, if I remember rightly.
I think because that just summed up the whole collection. It's a pamphlet, really, rather than a collection, isn't it?
It's 28 pages. So most of them are very one page anyway.
Yeah. And then following on from that, I mean, that was really successful. I think you sold out pretty quickly, didn't you?
Yeah, I sold out pretty quickly. Then I ordered another 100 of it, and that took a while to get done.
Yeah.
That took
Yeah.
years, but yeah, I think I have maybe one left. But I don't know whose that is. Yeah, yeah,
I've got my copies, so I'm happy.
yeah,
And then, I mean, when I first met you, I met you when Jim Otieno Hall, brought you along to a Mouthy Poets session.
yeah. November the 1st, 2018.
Really? Was it?
Yeah, it was your session as well.
Was it? I didn't
Yeah.
remember that, but I remember you coming. And really, it was just incredible. It was like you reminded me of one of those. I don't know if you ever had that Chinese tea where you put a tightly screwed up ball of vegetation in the mug and you pour on the boiling water and it just expands and expands and expands. And that's what you in Mouthy Poets reminded me of. It was like once we'd put you there, we couldn't stop you.
Yeah. 2018, but it was basically just a strange idea for me, and so I think I needed something like Mouthy to help. Yeah, and then I think I think 2014 we just ran away. Yeah, a bit of a crazy year that one.
And then 5 years.
Yeah.
5 years is the show that you've toured in 2018 and 2019.
So for 2018 we did 5 previous shows. No, 6. Sorry, 6 previous shows. One at Durham Book Festival, and 5 at Alphabet Newcastle.
So tell me a bit about the show, because I recognise some of the memories, stories, happenings, epiphanies from other poetry that you've written. So tell me a little bit about why it became a show.
I think, to be fair, I don't know if I'm not sure, but I know I wanted to write a show, but I think maybe inspired by someone else to write a show. I thought, I've got a good idea for a show about school, and I was talking to someone, and he did say, don't write a show yet. You're not well known enough yet.
Oh, that's an interesting piece of advice.
Yeah, but it kind of course, with it being me, sped me the other way.
So that's so true, because in fact in school, so 5 years is about the 5 years you spent in a special school, wasn't it? So do you want to talk us a little bit about that?
Well, yeah. So I started that, and then it started. I think I had a few ideas, but I never written anything. And then 2015 I was on, Jess Tom came.
Yes, just Tourette's superhero.
Superhero, yeah. And I can't remember. Now I can't actually remember what you were talking about, but I know it triggered things in my head that I had to go and write the show.
She's very much about embracing. So she has Tourette's. She has lots of physical tics and verbal tics, and she's very much about using that as part of her personality, which is always something I'm afraid to say I've admired about you, because I know you have a thing about people saying, oh, Neal, you're so brave.
Yeah.
But I've admired the fact that you will do whatever you want to do, despite the fact people say, oh, do you think perhaps that's not such a good idea?
No, yeah. I'm like, it might not be, but I want to try it.
And you're unashamed about, I mean, I remember, I'm not sure if it's in the play or not, you were told you couldn't be, it is. You were told you couldn't be the narrator.
Yeah.
You have a stutter. And you're like, and?
Yeah, because I didn't get the word, because I think the word would take too long. Yeah, because of shit, yeah, stuff like that, yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I know that it's interesting, isn't it? Why do things have to be fast? Why does it have to be a particular time frame?
Yeah, I'm quite good at speaking fast anyway, yeah. But yeah, too good, yeah.
I know. How did you feel when you first set foot in front of an audience to deliver a poem?
I can't remember now, because I think the first time was properly was say something 5 or 6. my poet show with Sabrina Mafu.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay. And
but I couldn't actually see the audience, which were fine.
yeah,
Very
yeah,
dark, so that helped me.
cool. So I know that you're working on a third book. We started talking about it probably a year ago, didn't we?
Yeah,
And
well, it's just been a hell of a year. It's been a hell of a year because I started writing poems for it in 2016, but I think I've lost about 4 versions of it.
Neal, that's shocking. We need to get the filing system sorted.
And yeah, to be fair, I think my old laptop just lost like 2 of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, but yeah, I lost loads of poems for it, so I nearly just gave it up at them.
I know there was I know your handwriting's shocking, isn't it? You wouldn't mind me saying.
Yeah.
You're always determined to, whenever we've done writing exercises that involve writing with pen and paper, you're always insistent you'll do it. Yeah. But I know that when you got an iPad, it was like a revelation for you because suddenly out it came.
Because at the moment, if I'm thinking a few more ideas for things, and I get my phone, I just write down my notes from my phone and send it myself.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. So, do you write straight onto a device always?
Yeah, but to be fair, I spend weeks normally get I've quite not. Most of the poems spend weeks in my head before I write them down. And I'm writing down and pretty much finished like that.
Oh, so would you mind sharing a poem with us?
Yeah, I will share, and I'll share one from the third book. Yeah, the third book, second book of poetry, which I think has a working title of "Do You Happen to Fall Asleep?"
Ah.
How would do a title poem? Do the title poem go? Do you happen to fall asleep? Bed aisle on your right, marked whiskey, rum, vodka. He shakes his head. I don't drink. Drinking fills me with synthetic sleep, and I dream of taking step-sting. Then wake up even before my alarm has thought about waking up. On days my alarm isn't around, I like to know where alarms go when they aren't used. Maybe they go on holiday or on weekend adventures, and the alarm just utter silence. And now before bed, my phone goes to the floor. I'm waiting for sleep to hit me. That's when I think about a drink. I sometimes go downstairs and hack at a yellow-white aspect of cheese. It tricks my brain into thinking it's Sunday or any night at Glastonbury, where music is a bubble and a man outside of it dancing. I also recommend a drastic slap to the head. Here, so I wouldn't recommend it. Just wait for sleep to lay on you. Sometimes it never does.
Thank you, Neal. Thanks. And that's from your soon-to-be book, I hope. Well, this year. Let's get it out this year.
Yeah, definitely. I think October, November. I think seems to be possibly. Yeah, but yeah,
that seems doable. And you referenced Glastonbury in there. I know you are mourning at the moment because your festival season has just been taken away from you.
Yeah. I think this year I was supposed to go to a grand total of 4 festivals, I think.
Yeah. So, another thing that I wanted to talk to you about was, I know you were lucky enough to get some Arts Council funding, weren't you?
I want to talk about 5 years a bit more, yeah.
So I know you got some funding to develop the piece, develop the show, and collaborate with producers. And Matt Miller, what was his role? Was he editor, director?
Many things. Neal Taylor, yeah. So yeah, gonna say I think I started writing it in 2016, and then a few months. I know Matt did a bit of directing with Dread at uni. I said to Matt, "Well, would you like to work with me?" I sent a few bits. So and then 2017 since 2017 I went up to Newcastle for I think 4 days, and we off our own backs, and we fleshed out and started fleshing out a show. Yeah, and then we And then I'm trying to think now, it's been too long. And then we managed to get a few scratches in Halifax and somewhere else, I can't remember now. Yeah, and then we applied for some funding to, I think, just make the show. We did that in Newcastle in 2018, and then I did a show. And then one of the first shows we did was a very, very rough version of it in Lee Rose, Cliff Hustle.
Oh yeah, I remember. Do you think it's important then to? You said that you and Matt went up to Newcastle off your own bat. Do you think it's important to do that with your work rather than go straight for funding?
Yeah, because I think if you work, if you do your own back, you're more likely to get. And if you do the groundwork yourself, I think you're more likely to get the money. I think that's what I think anyway. Yeah.
I mean, it's certainly something it's been interesting to watch how it's grown from poems to a story, to a show, and also for me, it's interesting what you've kept in and what you've dropped from it. Was that quite difficult to sort of lose some of the stories along the way?
Oh yeah, you can say that was like quite easy in a way, but it's quite difficult in a way. So yeah, so last year, me and Matt applied for, Matt and Rose applied for funding for, our producer applied for funding for the tour. And then the first day at rehearsals for the tour, which were just meant to just tidy a few things up, we both sat down and realised quite a lot of this need to change. Mainly to make it safe to perform.
Safe for who?
I think both me and the audience, because some parts are a little bit harrowing for me anyway, yeah. So I think I wanted to make it safe to perform, yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, because there is a sense of you are revisiting events, aren't you? And exposing yourself to them night after night after night when you're doing a tour. That must be difficult. So that was a group decision then, really, was it? Was it a realisation?
I think it was me, and then Matt kind of went like, yeah, okay then.
I think it worked really well. I absolutely loved the way that it was staged. You don't get such a sense of that from reading. I mean, it is a script, and there are some sort of stage directions in it. Yeah, but the music and the lighting and the staging really added to it as a whole story. It was really effective.
But yeah, to be fair, I think quite a lot of it, the stage direction also was for me, because if I didn't write him down, I didn't know where I was. Yeah, so I had to make sure, yeah.
Good point. Tell me about Tentacles, because there's another Arts Council have supported you in another project called Tentacles. Yeah. So Tentacles is a writing group.
It's basically writers group network for people of any disability and deaf. Yeah. Started in 2018 with Arts Council, with Unlimited. It was funded by Arts Council. We did 12 sessions at the Playhouse.
At Nottingham, yeah.
In Playhouse, yeah, and then they weren't quite low attended, but the people that did attend them really enjoyed them, so a bit swings and roundabouts there. And then the plan was to relaunch this year in both Nottingham Playhouse and Attenborough Arts Centre in Leicester.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, that's not happening yet.
And how important do you think it is to have a sort of disability writers network?
I think it's extremely important, because I did quite a lot of it. I think me and Marisa McKeith, they did quite a lot of research that there doesn't really seem to be any sort of writing networks for people with disability in this country. Do people actually want to be marked as disabled as well? Yeah, which I've struggled a year, but now I'm like, yeah, I've got disability. I don't really, yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, I guess if you give yourself the label, that's a different matter.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think people need to. I think people need to support people and build people up together. Because I'm not the best leader in the world, but I understand that I'm quite weirdly inspirational in play. I don't know how, but I'm quite good at getting people to change. Yeah.
I think for me, every time I've seen you perform, I was going to ask you actually about some of the reactions you've had, because obviously I've seen you perform in Nottingham, in Derby. It's a community who's come to know you. But when I've seen people watch you perform the first time, they always come away saying, "Who was that guy, Neal? That was incredible." Because really, you've had every barrier going put in the way of you writing your material, standing up and performing it to an audience, and yet you do it.
Yeah, no. Let's say I just do it because I want to.
I do it because I want to.
Yeah, because it's like, yes, it's mildly terrifying at times.
So, can we hear another poem?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and I say, I would have you're gonna say I'll do this is called box. I was once told I was special, put inside a box, facing the outside world. Live inside till you're old or dead. Just a creature to be looked at and stroked. Most of us roll in their bellies. I sat growling. I was once told I was special. What are you doing? They said. We get fed here. The real world would just want us dead. Live inside till you're old or dead. I don't want to be special. I just want to be Neal, or whatever that is. I was once told I was special. I'd rather be dead than live here. A place that waters down hopes and optimism. Live inside till you're old or dead. I wanted to write. You said that is not a realism. If I can't write, I'm not going to be real. I was once told I was special. Live inside till you're old or dead.
That's one of the first poems I remember you doing, actually.
Yeah, say great memory writing that. It was on 2014 from the Hearth.
You really are good with the dates. Like, you catalogue it all by date.
Yeah, you were going to say, yeah, I think if even close to negative members, I just seem to just stick in my head.
So it's interesting, you reference other poets a lot. How important is it for you to learn from the other poets around you?
That's the thing. When I first started writing poetry, I didn't like poetry because I thought it was just really old and just pompous and too long. And long poems I just can't concentrate on reading them. I just zone out quite quickly on. Well, apart from a few, I really like How by Allen Ginsberg. Yeah. Well, and then I think quite a lot of people, Deb, to feel there's like read or you can, and I love reading.
It's been absolutely wonderful talking to you, and I know we could talk for hours and hours and hours because there's so much else I wanted to ask you about. But for now, thanks so much for coming into the shed, and I hope to see you soon in the real world.
Yeah, so would I, yeah.
Thanks, Neal. See you soon. Bye.